If you skip this video, you might be skipping the one truth that could change everything, not just in your life, but in your afterlife. And maybe, just maybe, turning away now could be your first step toward eternal regret. Because this is not just a story, it's a warning, a mirror, and perhaps your final call.
स्वर्गे सुखच नरकेच दुःखच फल कर्मणा कर्मणा हि गतिर्लोके परंपरान विद्यते.
There was a man named David, wealthy, successful, confident, but arrogant. He mocked religion, laughed at people who prayed, and called heaven and hell bedtime stories for the weak. To him, the idea of judgment after death was just ancient nonsense. But one night, everything changed. David went to bed like any other day, unaware that he was about to face something no amount of money, logic, or science could protect him from. He opened his eyes, expecting to see the ceiling of his luxury penthouse. But instead, he found himself in a dark, endless space. A radiant figure appeared before him, glowing with a light that wasn't just bright, it was alive. "David," it said, "your time has come, but because you've lived blind, you will now see. You will witness both heaven and hell, and your own choices will guide your final destination." David tried to argue, to say this was a dream, but the fear in his chest told him it was all too real. Then, the being raised its hand, and in an instant David was in a place beyond nightmare. Hell. Not fire from movies. No, this was worse. Fire that burned not just flesh, but memory and soul. Screams echoed endlessly. People were chained in regret, crying out not for mercy, but for a second chance. A man clawed at his own face, screaming, "If only I had listened." Another begged, "Please, let me return. Just one day to say sorry, to change." But a booming voice roared through the fire. "You had your lifetime, and you wasted it." David saw people he recognized. A corrupt businessman, a politician, even a man who always seemed kind, but had lived a double life. "Why are they here?" he asked. The being said, "Because truth is not what you show. It's what you choose when no one is watching." The heat became unbearable. David felt himself choking, not from smoke, but from the weight of his own unconfessed sins. The lies, the greed, the selfishness, it all replayed before him, each moment like a flame licking his soul. He screamed, "Please, I'll change. Just get me out of here." And now ask yourself, if tonight was your last night, would you be ready? Or would you scream like David? Suddenly, everything went silent. The fire was gone. The screams faded. And when David opened his eyes, he was no longer in hell. He was in heaven. But it wasn't what he expected. It wasn't clouds and angels with harps. It was a place so real, so pure, that even colors felt alive. Music echoed through the air. Not music made with instruments, but music that was the air. Peace flowed like a river through everything. People smiled with joy that came not from pleasure, but from purpose. He saw souls embracing each other, laughing, dancing, not because they were lucky, but because they had lived right. They had chosen love over hate, forgiveness over revenge, truth over popularity. They had prayed when no one was watching. They had helped the broken, fed the poor, and lived humbly, even when they had power. David's knees hit the ground. For the first time, he cried not from fear, but from understanding. He whispered, "I wasted my whole life, chasing the world, ignoring my soul." The being turned to him and said, "You were given everything, and you used it only for yourself. But now, even you have a choice." David looked up, trembling. "Give me one more chance," he begged. "Let me go back. Let me live differently. Let me love, forgive, and believe. Let me warn others before it's too late." And in that moment, with one breath, David woke up, back in his bed. It was morning. Birds were singing. The sun was rising. But David was not the same. That day, he fell on his knees and prayed for the first time in his life, not for money, not for success, but for forgiveness, for purpose, and for truth. He gave away what he didn't need, helped those who were hurting, and told everyone who would listen about what he saw. And now, it's your turn, because this story isn't just about David, it's about you. Don't wait for a dream, a sign, or a near-death moment to change, because no one knows when their time will come. Maybe tonight, maybe tomorrow, maybe before this video ends. So ask yourself, are you living for truth? Or are you gambling with eternity? If this story made you feel something, anything, then it's not an accident. You were meant to hear it. Don't ignore the whisper inside you right now. Instead, do one small act of courage. Hit that subscribe button. Because every week, we bring you truths that your soul can't afford to miss. Don't just scroll on. Don't just forget this. Choose your path. Choose your eternity. Choose now.